That's the sermon that God woke me up with. Yes. I forget something? Yeah?
Pat, the truck driver, said to tell everybody that he really missed everybody and to tell Clark he appreciated him for his sending his mail food.
Oh, okay.
It's been over a month since he's been home, and said when he got home, he said, it ain't home anymore, he said.
Oh, yeah.
He said he misses this church really bad.
Well, he can come back anytime.
He said, tell everybody that he appreciated this church.
Yep. I think they'll let him. There's a guest room, isn't there? He could just live there, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. There we go. No. So thank you, Harold. Proverbs 31 is the sermon that God woke me up with. The mighty men of God is what I was going to preach on. By the way, some of you have noticed my Winnie the Pooh tie. This is my Father's Day tie. And I got this and a Mickey Mouse tie for Father's Day from my kids years ago. And I used to wear one of them every Father's Day. And then after a while I thought, well, you know, nobody's ever going to take you real serious if you wear a Winnie the Pooh tie. So you shouldn't preach or teach in a Winnie the Pooh tie. So I kind of let it die off until today. I don't know why. I just felt moved to put it on. I haven't worn it in years. So it's my Father's Day tie. So you may see Mickey Mouse next year, okay? Maybe that I'm getting older. I don't care if people take me serious anymore or not. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about the mighty men of God. We've talked about before why we really want to have a men's ministry and why we want to reach men, why I want to have the men's conference. And because what we told you before, the percentage, if you get the man in the home committed, 97 to 98% of the time, you get the family. But yet we spend most of our resources and our time on children, some on women, and then nothing on men. I think it's Satan who actually has made us think that way. If you get the men, they're going to bring the children. They're going to bring the children anyhow. And I'm not saying those things are not important, but I think we put all our eggs in the wrong basket. And so this mighty men of God, by the way, you can blame my wife on that. She has prayed for years about her son being a mighty man of God. And then all of a sudden it was her son and her husband. And when first time she said that, I'm like, hey, don't be throwing me in there. Don't be doing that. So the thought in my heart, in my mind is, am I a mighty man of God? Am I what she wants me to be? I want to be what she wants me to be. And many times you think that you're pretty good. You're doing well. And by the way, this is going to be a sermon more from the heart, okay? It's going to be one of those. Last Sunday was a teaching sermon. Today is more of a heart. So you think you're doing pretty good until I was listening to a man a preacher on YouTube the other day on this topic on the topic of church. Because, this month the theme is Church Still Works. And I'm not going to say his name because it's not a man I would normally recommend for people to listen to as far as preaching. He's a good man, but I don't agree with a lot of things that he preaches or teaches. But anyhow, he's teaching on the church, and for some reason he locked into men. And his thought was completely right. Without strong men in our churches are weak. And he began to go over what he thought a strong spiritual man was in the church. And as he's teaching this and preaching it, I realized I am not a mighty man of God. There's things I need to work on. There have been times in my life that I've been closer to being a mighty man of God than I have been. And there's times I've been far away from being a mighty man of God. And that's what we want here in our church. Mighty men of God. And if that's what we want, then we have to promote it. We have to teach it. And one of the reasons we want to have this conference is just to build men to love their wives. Build men to love their family. To build men who are faithful to their God and to their church. Men of character and strength. Men who lead a church, lead a community, lead where they work. Men who make a difference. Mighty men of God. And if we could do that, we'll see a difference in our church. And if we latch hold on that, we'll see a difference in our community, in our homes, in our lives. And so that's why these things are so important. We have this meeting so we can just focus on that topic and that reason to change. I have noticed in my life, whenever you want to try to start a men's ministry, there's resistance. Every church I've ever tried to start a men's ministry, there's been resistance. A lot of the men resist it because, I don't need it. I don't know. I don't want it. A lot of the church resists it because I believe, hang on with me here, that's exactly what Satan wants us to do. He knows that if we have mighty men in our church, he has no say. Somebody one time said, I like to go to church so I can escape the devil. And I said, you're in the wrong place. He's at church every Sunday. And he is. And then one guy said, yeah, he's usually the pastor. I said, no. No. He's here every Sunday. Influencing, whispering, talking. He's here right now whispering probably to men. He's talking foolishness. You don't need that. You're okay. Knowing all along what we need in our country, what we need in our churches, what we need in our homes, are mighty men of God. Men who stand for something, stand strong, and lead. And so, as I'm thinking about that, and I have my sermon, Mighty Men of God, I thought that was the sermon. Because that guy spoke to me, it spoke to my heart. And so Wednesday, I went right through it. You can ask Kay. I got her done. I got this sermon ready. I'm all excited to preach this. And I don't know why, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, God wakes me up with this question. Because in Proverbs 31, and which we use it every Mother's Day, do we not? A lot of people, every Mother's Day, somewhere, some church uses Proverbs 31. There's a whole ministry called Proverbs 31, Women of Proverbs 31, or something like that. A whole ministry about women. And in there, it talks about how her husband is the leader of the community at the gate. And the thought is, and in there, it's implied, because of a strong woman, you have a strong man, right? And because of her influence, that's what caused him to be a leader in the community. And so the thought, I woke up, and I think I woke Kay up, or she was half awake. But anyhow, I asked her, I said, does a virtuous woman make a strong man? or does a strong man make a virtuous woman? Well, I had to figure this out. And so I began to read that section of Proverbs 31, and I'm reading that section. I said, well, let's start from the beginning. And I read, and there it was. Before the virtuous woman, there was the virtuous man. I think we skip it. We skim over it. I think I've never heard anybody preach the first 9 verses of Proverbs 31. I've never heard anybody teach me the first 9 verses of Proverbs 31. But there it is, the Proverbs 31 man with the Proverbs 31 woman, and the answer to me is that they make each other. A virtuous woman wants a virtuous man. And a virtuous man wants a what? A virtuous woman. And they complement. They make each other. Again, transformation. 2 become 1. And so let's look at Proverbs 31. And I got to have it. Proverbs 31. And look at what a Proverbs 31 man is. I won't be super long. I know Josh has to go to work. Cummins is going to be calling me up. You need to shorten this up some. Again, from the heart. Proverbs 31, and Jonathan already read it for you, but in verse 1 and 2, the words of King, now you got me saying it your way. Lemuel. It's, I'll go Lemuel, because that's all I got in my head now. The prophecy that his mother taught him, what, my son, what the son of my womb, and what son of my vows. And so the first thing I've got here is that a man, a Proverbs 31 man, a man, not a little boy, not an immature man, a man respects a woman. Say, Mike, where do you get that out of this? Did he have to put anywhere in Scripture this, that he got this from a woman? No. He did not. But he wanted to make sure that we understood that he was taught by his mother what he's about to tell us. Out of respect for his mom, out of respect for women, he said, this is what I learned from my mother. By the way, the cry, a lot of men cry and say, matter of fact, I saw on the internet a long time ago, there was this book and it was about this thick, and it was Everything I Know About Women, Volume 1. The cry is, what does she want? What does she want from me? Whenever there's marriage counseling or relationship counseling, the man will always come back to, I have no clue what she wants from me. You ever thought about asking women what they want? You may not want to hear the answer, and that's the truth. I know I don't. As soon as she starts telling me what she wants from me, I'm like, okay, yeah. Because it doesn't always feel good. But here it is from his mother teaching him what a woman wants, what a virtuous woman wants from her man. And he learned from that to respect women. When I was at work this week, this husband had called one of our employees. And God just happened to tell me, I know it's God, because I've heard other people complain about how they argue on the phone at work. Well, I haven't really seen it, so there's not a whole lot I can do. Well, God reminded me to go stack some skids. I'm getting on a story here. I've been told I tell too many stories sometimes. But anyhow, go with me. And God told me to go stack some skids. So I went to go stack the skids, and there it was. She was arguing with her husband. But the way he was talking to her. Oh yeah, I know he was upset. But the words he used and the tone he used and the threats that he used. I told her, that's unprofessional. I can't have you do that. Hang up. Afterwards, she apologized to me, and I said, I just got one thing to say. This is not boss hat, because I have lots of hats. This is preacher hat. I said, I don't know what that was, but I know one thing it was not. That's not love. The disrespect that comes out of our mouths towards women, how we say things about them and how we treat them. Old lady, fat butt, lazy. The ball and chain. Disrespecting women. You want to be a man of God, a mighty man of God, a virtuous man. Respect women. Don't put them down. Don't think of them as second class. This always blows people away. The Bible, Christianity especially, teaches that we're equal but different. We're equal but different. Treat women as your equal. They are. And respect women. A Proverbs 39 man, a virtuous man, we'll read chapter 31, verse 3. And it says, give not thy strength unto women. So a virtuous man does not give his strength unto women. A virtuous man, he's virtuous concerning women. Is minute you have sex with somebody who is not your wife out of marriage or adultery, you give them all the power. Did you know that? Whenever you commit adultery or you cheat on your wife, the fear is always what? Come on, what's the fear? She's going to talk. She's going to say something. And guess what? 9 out of 10 times, they will. You've just given her all the power. Giving strength to is you don't, what is the word I want to try to say? You don't have the ability. Well, I'll just say what that preacher said that I heard. Stay off the internet. I know a man who said, I never cheated on her. I never cheated on her. I said, he didn't know this, but he left his phone one day at work. And I'm trying to find out whose phone it is. And boom, Snapchat. You ever heard of it? I said, what about your Snapchat? And he got all upset. Well, that's not, to her it is. You may not think it's cheating, but for sure she does. And you just gave up your strength, your foot, your footing, your stance. You have nothing to stand on because you gave it up to women. I remember the story of Samson and Delilah. And he was with this woman who was not his wife, and back and forth and all that, and she was a spy. Eventually, he told her where his strength was. His hair, so he says. That's not where his strength was, by the way. We go on with that. So she has his hair cut, and his strength's given away because he gave up that strength to a woman. A virtuous woman wants a virtuous man. And she wants your virtue towards women. How you treat women, how you respect women, what you think of women, how you act around women, what you think of women. A virtuous man. A virtuous man concerning your lifestyle. Proverbs 31 verse 3. Nor thy ways to that which destroyeth a king. Now I know it's talking about a king, but a man is the king of his castle, is he not? And the woman is the queen. And so if we're going to do that, what destroys a king? Your lifestyle can. How you live, how you act, how you talk can erode and destroy your life. It doesn't take much for a man to lose everything nowadays. He can go home one day like a friend of mine, and all he has is a recliner and a can of pork and beans because she doesn't like pork and beans. I mean, while he was work, she moved everything out. Destroyed everything because of his lifestyle. Well, I'm the man. You can be the man alone. Well, you could learn how to treat people right and how to live right and be a virtuous man. Our families need virtuous men. Our children need virtuous men so they know how to live a virtuous life. What are you teaching your children by your lifestyle? Not your words, your lifestyle. They see how you act at church and they see how you act at home. Are they the same? Because that's what you're teaching. So, you're virtuous by how you treat women, and you're virtuous by your lifestyle. A clear-minded, clear-headed man. Proverbs 31, verses 4 through 5. It is not for kings, and again, we're going to equate kings with kings of your castle, of your home. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. And so it's not good for a man to drink. Now, some people say, well, it says you're not supposed to be drunk. It doesn't say anything to be drink. Just right here is drink. Yet, we'll have Christians bring that stuff into their home and say, I'm not addicted to it. I don't get drunk. I just have one every once in a while. Not knowing if their children are alcoholics. Not knowing that it takes that first drink to find out if you're an alcoholic, and always forgetting that children will do more than we do. And so if you sin a little, they're going to sin great. But they need a clear-minded man. One of absence of filth. One of absence of alcohol and drugs that can make clear-minded decisions. It says, whether you forget the law. How many times have I visited people in jail, and it always starts out, I ask, why are you here? And it 9 out of 10, 7 out of 10, whatever percentage you want to put, a lot of times, when I go there, it starts out, well, we were drinking, and then we broke the law. Is that what your home needs? A man who's at the bar on Friday nights instead of home, with a bunch of loose women running around? Or do they need you home? Do they need somebody who has a clear mind, who can make clear decisions, That when I come to, I'm not going to ask myself, is he high today? Can I really talk to him? You're not dependable if you're addicted to drugs or alcohol. You're not. But you're not dependable if you're addicted to filth and sin. It does not clear your mind lest you forget the law and help those that are afflicted. We need level-headed, clear-minded men. So how do we clear our minds of a lot of stuff? That's our prayer time and our Bible reading time, a home or alone someplace. You've got to be with God. That's how do you clean your heart? How do you clean your mind? How do you keep your mind clear? Through the Word of God and prayer time. We're talking about mighty men of God. Just not strong men. A mighty man of God, a man that a virtuous woman would want and is attracted to, is a man who has his mind clear. Clear. A man who defends the defenseless. Proverbs 31, 8 through 9. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth. Open your mouth for those who cannot defend themselves, that are helpless, and defend them. Find a cause and stay with it and defend people who need your help. Sometimes it's a child, sometimes it's a woman, sometimes it's somebody at church, somebody at work. We have an issue right now in our country. Anti-Jewish Semitism, is running rapid. That's not the problem. The problem is most of us are not anti-Jew, but we won't defend them. We're not saying anything. Not the virtuous man. He sees those who cannot defend themselves, and he'll defend them. He'll open his mouth. He will say something. No, that is wrong. No, they're doing right. No, leave them alone. Women love men like that. A virtuous woman. What does your woman want from you? Be a man who defends the defenseless. Stands up for them. Protects them. A man who makes moral decisions. Proverbs 31 verse 9. Judge righteously. Open thy mouth and judge righteously. You make good moral decisions. When you judge, when you make a judgment, make a decision, it's based on morals and ethics. Not your feelings, not your lustful desires, but on morals and ethics. The lustful desire is, she doesn't make me happy anymore, so therefore I've got this woman over here who makes me happy. I'm going to leave her and go to this woman, and that's not a virtuous man. A virtuous man does not say, the kids are driving me crazy, some of them aren't even mine, I'm out of here. No, he makes moral decisions. You want a virtuous woman, and everybody talks about that. You need to be a virtuous man. And what does our family need? What does our church need? What does our community need? A virtuous man. One who makes moral decisions. Now, he learned all this from his mother, by the way. not another man. Number 6, and we're done. A man who assists those in need. By the way, most women love this. They do. If you're somebody who helps the needy, the poor, women just like, oh. Most women do. But a virtuous woman is looking for this. It says in Proverbs 31 verse 9, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. You see a need, you want to meet that need. You want to help. It bothers you if somebody's hungry. It bothers you if somebody doesn't have clothes. It bothers you if you see somebody who can't pay their bills. And you're the leader of that. In your home and in your church. Hey, what are we going to do for this or that? What are we going to do? Imagine a church with many mighty men. Many Proverbs 31 kind of man. Imagine the next time you ask yourself, what does she want from me? Read Proverbs 31, and if you begin to mold yourself, and you and God work on becoming this man, imagine what it will do to your wife and your home. What kind of man does your daughters need to see? What kind of man does your children need to see? A man who respects women. A man who is virtuous towards women. A man who has a virtuous lifestyle. A man who's clear-headed, level-headed, not clouded with filth and drugs and alcohol. A man who defends the defenseless. A man who makes moral decisions. A man who assists those in need. Right after that, you find the virtuous woman. And they complement each other. Imagine a home like that. Imagine a church like that. Imagine what we could accomplish for Christ if we had men who wanted to be mighty men of God and willing to sacrifice self and everything to reach that. A man who God can be pleased with and his wife can support and back up. Then he's the leader of his community because she's got his back, because she knows what kind of man he is. Let us close in prayer.